Welcome back, guys, to Pastor's Coffee. I'm Brooks, and this is Stiff, and it is episode 68. How we doing? Doing all right?
Yes, doing good. We talked a little bit before, but I was sick yesterday. As Albina explained, there was a man cold. As you know, me and Brooks know, we don't handle colds as well as they do. But I my throat was kind of hurting. It's still a little bit today, but we'll manage through. I don't know
Yeah.
about you. Have you ever had like you're sick like the day before, like a Sunday or a Wednesday, and you're like,
Yep.
"Can I call off?" I'm going in tonight, but you know, it's like, is it bad enough to like, can I just stay home? But um, I don't know if you ever had those, but that's been my week so
Oh, yeah.
far,
Yeah,
debating on whether to go in on Wednesday or not.
sure.
But how about you? How's your week been going?
It's been a good week. Yeah, we're a lot of exciting things happening at the church. As you know, every week can bring something new, and a phone call can change a week, but it's
Yeah.
pretty exciting. I got to meet with a few pastors in the area, and especially just our church members, just so many people encouraging me. And um, yeah, I just think the Lord's doing a lot of exciting things. So it's been
Good.
good. Family's good. And
Oh,
JJ's
good.
growing just every day. It's just
Yeah.
awesome seeing just his progression. And yeah, hope it slows down because I'm just having a blast with him. So
It did not. Liam will be two next week, so
it's
it's
wild,
kind of
man.
wild.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is.
but um, I'm glad to hear that. And the old so what do they call you over there? Senior pastor, lead
Senior
pastor,
pastor. Yeah,
senior
senior.
pastor.
Yeah.
Do you feel older? People.
Yeah, I almost wish my title was lead, just
Yeah.
because I don't know. Maybe we'll explore that in the future, but that was just what it was already set as and what we voted me in as. So,
Yeah.
because I know that some of our other staff members it's probably a little weird calling me senior,
Yeah.
um,
I'm sure.
but I don't know. Nobody
Yeah.
said it, but I'm sure it might be a little weird for him. But
Yeah.
everybody's been super good
Yeah.
to me, and
Good.
yeah.
Um, well, with that, I think I can kind of dive into what we'll talk about today.
Mm,
Um, I wanted to ask you, especially, I think we have two different perspectives here now, especially since you're in a new role
yeah,
at your church. And I'm gonna be coming up on 3 years this next year in my
that's
youth
hard to
pastor
believe
role.
too.
It
Yeah,
is, yeah. Um, life just goes on like it's
yeah.
nothing. Uh, but in your role,
Mm.
especially taking on more responsibilities, I would say as a youth pastor. Um, how do you organize your time? What are some priorities you have in your day-to-day life? Because as
Yeah.
you were saying before, a phone call can change your week and it can change your day up. Um, and obviously, I think we before we even get into it, I feel like we do have some routines. I would say probably
Sure.
both of us, but you know, what are some priorities in your life? How do you organize your time? Um, what's a
Mm,
day kind of if that phone call doesn't happen that changes your day or week? What's a regular, you could say,
yeah,
if that's what
yeah.
you want to call it. What regular day look like?
Um, regular, yeah, I think, when you figure it out, you let me know because I'm still this is really, there's certain things that I would say, this role that I would say, I guess, surprised me. I mean, I knew there would be some changes and some new things, but yeah, there's a lot of change that comes with it. I think one of the first changes was my devotional time. A lot of times it was first thing when I get into the office, but I quickly found out, my first couple of weeks, as soon as I get in here, how fast things can change. So
Yeah,
my devotional time is before I get to the office now. Before I even leave. So I've been
yeah,
trying to protect that time and uh, doing that first. So that's been a change. So before I even get into the office is, I wake up, a devotional prayer time. And then as soon as I get into the office, that's kind of where, every day just has its own challenges. I lead a Bible study on Tuesday mornings. which kind of throws, the schedule off because I get into the office a little bit later than normal. But yeah,
Hmm.
normally in the office starts at, 8 a.m. and then kind of dictates, the closer you get to Wednesday, the more prep you're doing for that message. But I try and get sermon prep done very early in the week.
Okay.
I know we've talked about this a little bit before, but Monday is really my, study time and kind of brainstorming where I just throw everything at the wall, pray over it and see what sticks. And I'm just
Yeah.
kind of thinking about it just because I get really nervous. I don't know if that's the right word. The longer I get towards Sunday and I don't really have, my direction, obviously it's leaning on the Holy Spirit, but I like to have, most of my sermon written out by at least Tuesday, so I have the rest of the week to kind of think through it and pray over it and
Yeah.
just continue to be led. So I feel a lot better about my week when my sermon prep gets done early because especially towards the end of that week, it seems like uh, you know the different requests start to pick up. But again, every
For
week's
sure.
different. But
Yeah.
um, I guess routine is early in the week, heavy study and sermon prep. Obviously, phone calls and different stuff can change that. But then towards
Hmm.
the end of the week is more kind of responsibilities and checking in on people and being more intentional in that way. But I try and I mean, as you know, sermon prep you got to put a lot of time into it, and I try and protect that time really heavily. And the
Yeah.
office is just it's really helpful. It's a little bit more difficult as with with kids, with a baby, it's tough to focus at home,
Yeah.
really to sit down and do it. So it's nice to have this time in the office
Yeah.
to get it done. But you and your role, I know you've talked a little bit, but what's
Yeah.
kind of your routine
Yeah.
week to week?
I think with mine, I think we both have sermons that we prepare for, and I think with yours, you check in on more people. With Hey Liam,
Is
you
that my
coming
man?
in now? You coming in now? You wanna sit here real quick? Okay.
There he is.
Anyways,
What's up, buddy?
you're gonna sit here while I explain my day that dictates you around you. I can't park in the garage when you're asleep because you'll wake up.
Oh man.
If you're awake, I can park in the garage. You wanna
That's
go
too
off
good.
Spidey now? Say Spidey. He's had the commands. Um, Now he goes back in. Um, but I think with my role, I've been taking on more of I don't want to say like technology side of it because there's a lot of people who do a lot more technology than I do. Um,
Mhm.
but there's some certain things that I need to do that is dictated with like not dictated, but I have to do in the office with my computer.
Right, right.
Like I
Yeah.
can come home and my iPad, I can write on my iPad, my iPhone, my Mac, I can do it all writing wise and Bible
Mhm.
study wise. But like if I'm, we've just started doing about a month ago video announcements. And
Yeah,
so, I can edit it on my iPad, but it doesn't work the same. So I like to do that at church. I do the video announcements at church because I think that's
sure.
where they should be done. They should see
Yeah.
like the pews behind us and the
Yeah, I think it's
lobby
cool.
and yeah. Um, and so that's been kind of in this past month I've been kind of figuring that out with
Mhm.
um, you know, I have to do these things, but sermons are more important than video announcements. But if I
Sure.
don't have a video announcement done on Sunday, that's going to be a little weird. And and so I've learned that when I get into the office, which it's different than yours, which is cool to hear about. I think is the bulk of my week, and especially in the front, is I try to get everything that I need to do technology wise done,
Makes sense
except
though. Yeah.
um first
Mhm.
because I can come home. Me and Albina are very much night owls. We are up at least till midnight, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
The kids go to bed, whereas Liam's in bed by 7:30.
Sure.
Leia's in bed at 8:30.
That'd
So
be nice.
from 8:30, the occasional Leia wakes up and comes get her. after. Um, you know, usually me and Albina do something, and if we're not, if Albina wants to watch her show, I'll sometimes scroll on my phone, but sometimes I'll do stuff on my iPad.
Sure.
And I figured out that I'm not a morning person. 8 a.m. I don't function as well at 8 a.m. It takes me a little bit going to get going.
Hmm.
At least brain power wise. Um, for me to actually produce, like I can obviously I can get up and produce a sermon in the morning. However, I feel like my better work and when my brain can flow a little better is at night.
Yeah.
And I can just sit down and do it. And I with doing something to get done during the day, um, helps me to feel more accomplished in something, and
Yeah.
then I can go on to a sermon prep.
Hmm.
Um, but along with video analysis, I'm working on our website, which is pretty dependent on my computer at church. I can do it on my iPad, but again, it just doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
So I've learned that the office is more of I do sermon prep there, and I do PowerPoint and all of that there as well.
Hmm.
But I can do that at home.
Yeah.
And I found that with I have to pick up Leia at school. Um, I just I've been fitting my office hours in her school schedule, so
Sure.
I do
Yeah.
have a little less lenient with that now. I'm not there as long, but it does help me get in there earlier and get things done. And
Yeah.
with all that saying, um, that's what a regular day would look like at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, let's say, Monday morning hits, Monday afternoon hits, and Aunt Susan calls and needs you to do something, right?
Yeah.
How do you prioritize things? Because right, we have obviously there are things that need to get done before Sunday, which is obviously your sermon.
Yeah.
If you don't have a sermon Sunday, you might get fired. You might
Yeah.
be
If I'm in trouble.
you're a little bit in trouble.
Yeah.
We can be like the Quakers and just think of a
Flip it.
sermon right off the bat. I don't work that way. I also write out my sermon.
Yeah.
I've kind of gone past that a little. I've been able to not have to write out every word for word,
Sure. Sure.
um, but especially on a Sunday morning, I'm sure that we're both writing word for word.
Yeah.
So that's how we function for at least our youngin. Anyways, Aunt Susan calls. What do you prioritize in your week? Because again, you still have a family to get home to,
Hmm.
and you still have a life outside the church, if that's what you want to call it.
Hmm.
Um, but I just want to go ahead and get your kind of thoughts on what irregular, what that's actually the regular week, I feel like, is when Susan calls and something comes up. But go ahead and talk us through some of that stuff.
It's a loaded one, um, because yeah, it's something that it's kind of a tense point in my mind because you have this balance between your calling and you know these people that the Lord has called me to shepherd, but
Hmm.
also my first ministry has to be my family.
Yeah.
My church ministry fails if my family fails. I'm disqualified from ministry if that family fails. So, I mean, the qualification of a pastor rules his household well. My first ministry has to be my family, and that's a
Yeah.
tricky line. It really is,
Hmm.
because you do get those calls, and I said this in my intro interview, even for this position. When I think of a weakness of mine, and I've got plenty, goodness, but the one that jumps to my mind is I am in a way I don't know if a people pleaser is a good term, but I struggle saying no. I always want to help. I always
Hmm.
want to, if I can do something, I want to.
Yeah.
I can't stand letting people down, and I just know in this role you kind of feel that weight, and you do obviously at any role, but I've noticed kind of at this role, just the dependence is a little bit different because
Hmm.
you hate to let people down, and people are you know kind of relying on you in a way, even though they should be relying on the Lord, obviously. But um, so I would just say the first answer is I'm still it's still very much something that I'm working on, and it's something that I'm trying to get better at. But with that said, I try with everything to protect Saturday.
Mhm.
Saturday is my Sabbath, you know,
Mhm.
um, in the sense of, that is intentional family time where I'm not taking, phone calls in the sense if it's an emergency, absolutely, as things come up. But I try and protect my Saturday, and give that time to my family because you find these pockets of time, obviously, and every day I've got to, they've got to be, you know my priority, but things do come up and things take my time, and
Yeah.
but Saturday, really, I would recommend, to everyone, really, not just people in ministry, have a day of rest. And that doesn't mean you sit in your bed all day and not do
Mm.
anything. That's not
Yeah.
what rest means. It is intentional time with, those that you love, those that we're called to, build up, because it
Yeah.
really does. Your day gets stretched so far, and it gets tough when the kids get older and they get involved with, extracurriculars and trying to protect the weekend. And, that's sometimes your busiest time. And you're seeing that with church attendance now too. And,
Yeah.
that's a whole different discussion, but
I was
I
gonna
do.
say that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you, a straight answer during the week. Yeah, I've got a lot of room to grow in that area, but I do. I try my best to protect Saturday, and it doesn't always happen,
Yeah.
um, but yeah.
Yeah. I think some people can kind of forget that we don't really get Sunday off. I think Sunday is a very
Yeah.
yeah, like it, you
That's the
know,
go, go, go day.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's our day.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you know, I've I loved our Friday to Saturday kind of off um
yeah,
schedule here that I
mhm,
have, and that like this week that's going to be flipping. I took Monday
mhm,
off, and I'm going to be working somewhat on Friday. Um,
and it's nice to have the flexibility to do that.
Yeah, yeah, but Sunday is a very busy day,
Mhm,
and it used to be the day that I would spend the most time with my family before I was
right.
in ministry, and
Yeah,
but now it changed, and that's the heaviest work day of
yep,
them all.
yep,
Um, and I think as we go throughout the week, and I think every pastor can struggle with, um, stepping aside from ministry and going to the first ministry, and that's your family.
yep,
And I think even you, I think it's a great testimony for you, and our lead pastor is like this as well, where the wife works.
yep,
A lot of pastors you see, we've been blessed. Albina doesn't have to work,
right.
which is very nice. I don't have to worry about Liam throughout the day at all.
Mhm,
And except this week with one car, but that's a whole
sure.
different, you know, circumstance. But usually, I'll be here, and that's something that she's kind of grown into. That's something she didn't want to do at
Yeah,
first.
yeah, mhm.
She didn't want to she felt like she wasn't going to do anything throughout the day, and what we've come to realize is that her job's harder than my job. Uh,
No, for sure, right. Yeah,
um, and so, but I think the priorities that we see through our jobs is that our families always come first,
mhm,
um, and that we have a great support cast around us, especially us with our deacons. Our deacons are tremendous and can pick up at any time.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't know your deacon, so I can't speak for them, but
mhm,
I'm assuming you would say the same thing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so when things come up throughout the week, there's a certain line where you have to, emergencies come, but there's a there's a time when we do have to say no, and I think that we both can struggle in that. That's an area that I've started to get better at. That people understand that I have my time and they have their time, and
yeah,
you know, uh, but one thing that me and Alvina have been working on is that anybody can come over at any time. Our house is open for people to
sure.
come over, and I love those times so people
Yeah,
can come over and hang. Uh, but I think as a youth pastor, I've realized that I have to get my things, and especially with the technology side, I have to get those things done in the church And sometimes that does sacrifice a little bit, I will say. But I think coming home and having that flexibility to do it at home is also
Mhm.
good.
For
And
sure.
I've developed that um, discipline to do it at home,
Mhm.
which it can be hard, when the whole family's watching something and you're like, I want to just sit down and watch TV, but I can't. I still be in the room with them and just I disengaged, but in the movie or whatever. But um, it can be a sacrifice, but we've learned to get through it, and um, because something that we realized this life is for serving the Lord,
Yeah.
um, and there's a certain extent where I can also see pastors going the other way, where their life takes so much of a priority over their ministry, right? And you see
Yeah.
so many pastors out there that don't talk to people, the congregation outside of the church walls.
Right.
Uh, and so balancing that line in between where you have your family priorities, but ministry is also super important. That's what God is
Absolutely.
calling us
It's your
to do.
calling. Mhm.
And there was a missionary that just came, and I won't say his name just for protective stuff.
Sure.
Um, but they their family was put in danger for what they've been doing, right? And the easy side of saying that is we're not going to do the same. Well, my family comes first, which is true, and we're just going to step away from this because we don't want to be in danger at all.
Yeah.
But his wife took him to the side and said, "Hey, this is what we need to be doing. The Lord has
Mhm.
called us to do this ministry." And they're continuing to do it while even in danger, um, which is a great thought. And I think us as pastors, we have to rally our families behind us in the ministry as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have heard many times that your wife will determine your ministry as well. I think
Yeah.
we can both speak very
Yeah.
highly for a while. I personally could not imagine going through ministry with a wife who's not behind me and with me 100% of the way.
Yeah, I can't even.
Um, and so that I hold down the rabbit hole a little bit, but
I
it
had
I go ahead.
well, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
uh, um, thinking of just time and how valuable it is. We read Dangerous Calling in college,
Hmm.
and I picked it back up, and I'm going back through it again. And there was a line that kind of stuck out to me. I used it in my sermon this past week, but it kind of goes along with this too. He said, "In ministry, you are always giving what you yourself desperately need. In ministry, you're always given what you need yourself, you know." And
Yeah,
it's I think that's something not to be um I don't mean for this to come off selfish in any way, but I think, you know, you think of the amount of people that are in a congregation, and church size really doesn't matter because I mean, you can have a smaller congregation and there's everybody has needs, you know. But I think that kind of um I'm trying to, be kind of tender in how I say it, but like people don't realize always that, how many people, are kind of, pulling you in different directions. And I don't mean to
yeah,
sound like I'm complaining at all, but it's like it's kind of a sobering thought that, you're always kind of giving yourself and sometimes you just need to be poured into as well. And I'm not saying I'm at that point right now. It's this congregation, everybody's been so good to me. And I really do feel like I'm kind of in this honeymoon period because everybody's been so good to me. But I
yeah,
can I can see that just from testimonies from other pastors too, that just, you know, it is. I mean, you're carrying a lot of burdens from people. I mean, people will just kind of pour out their heart to you, and you want to be tender and care for that. And behind closed doors, you're carrying some burdens too, and you don't have a place to drop those off at always.
hmm
So yeah,
yeah. And I think that's where, again, I think that's where a great wife comes into play. Though
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
I've shared many things with Albina that I would not
yeah,
say one word about in the church. It, it's
absolutely. Yeah,
it's something again where a great wife who's there behind you, supporting you through it all, and you can vent. to her at any time.
Your wife
Um,
can either help or hinder your ministry.
yeah,
That is one of the truest statements I've ever heard about marriage.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
um, it's amazing to have Albina by my side and going through all that, and it's true though. What you said from that book. Um, you give so much to so many people, and it kind of it. We're not saying this boastful. However,
No, I hope
it's
it
true.
doesn't come across that way. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
in any job, it can be like that, right? You
Hmm.
you you pour. Let's think of a coach, for example, right?
Yeah.
You're coaching this team and you're pouring your heart in this team.
Hmm.
However, most of the time when that team wins, are you going to get any of the credit? Probably not. A lot of the players are getting the credit, and you eventually get some, but there's something where someone's pouring so much into your life and determining, like, showing you the Bible and
Yeah.
strengthening your walk with the Lord. And,
Hmm.
are you thinking about that pastor who is doing that, and where are they getting their, especially in your role with a lead pastor, I get to sit on Sunday morning and hear sermon,
Yeah.
and, you don't. Um,
Right.
and that could be something, for a different topic, but
Yeah.
how do you get fed? And
Hmm.
because a lot of your feeding is coming from your studies and
Yeah.
everything with
Maybe
that.
maybe next week that'd be a good one to talk
Yeah,
about too. Yeah. Be a good one.
yeah. So, but yeah, priorities in our lives. We have families. Families always come first, but ministry is right there with it. And we're
Absolutely.
called to this calling, and
Mm.
we're here for the people that we are to shepherd. And um, yeah, anything else you wanted to say?
No, it was interesting. You gave me a lot to think about too.
Yeah,
So I appreciate the discussion.
no problem. Well, everything's all right this week. LeBron didn't retire. It was just a Hennessy ad, and
I wouldn't be
uh,
here right now
ooh,
if he did. I would have had to take a retreat and just think about life for a little bit.
oh, that would have been.
Everybody knows
I
that's my man. That's gonna be a
yeah.
sad day when that
I
happens.
We're gonna take
It's
a month off when Braun retires.
it's getting here soon, but that day is not today.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, but uh, yeah. So this week we're gonna skip our top five, and hope that you guys have a great week. Spend some time with your families, but also
Yes.
be
Yeah.
dedicated to your ministry as
Yeah.
well.
So
So we hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week.
thanks for listening, guys. See you.
Bye.